animals that people consume and exploit for dairy and eggs come from factory farms. A standard method of stunning them in the UK is to put them in gas chambers. People don't know about
Sorry,
this.
I'm feeling so ignorant now. I just didn't know. I
Yeah.
just didn't know these things, honestly.
It's so brutal and so unnecessary and so easy to abstain from. I realize it's such a simple change, such a highly leveraged action that we can take to drastically reduce the suffering on Earth is by just moving our hand from here to here in the supermarket, buying a different product instead of the meat or the dairy or the eggs or this animal product. Have this mindset that you can make a difference, and the only way that you will ever make a difference is to believe that you can. Increase the joy in the world, decrease the suffering in the world. It's going to be a better world left after you're gone if you do that. Simple change, massive effect, and that's my message.
Welcome to Local Voice Collective, the podcast that brings Bedford's voices together. It's your chance to discover the most exciting local projects, connect with entrepreneurs, change makers, coaches, artists, consultants, and influential local people, and ultimately be part of a community that really supports and inspires each other. I'm your host, Andrew Gabriel. Let's dive in. So, Don Jeevy, nice to see you here.
Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure.
Yeah. I've seen passionate people in my life, but the thing that you do is kind of next level. Could you give me just a 60-second intro, just a 1 minute, just briefly, what you do, why it matters, and then we can dig deep into different kinds of things that you do.
For sure. So I'm Don. I run an Airbnb management business, as well as some other things. I run several networks, communities, including the Bedfordshire Vegans Network. We're the most active community of vegans in Bedfordshire with socials and activism events happening. Starting a new business for retreats, going to Bali next year with a business partner based in Bali. We're going to be flying out there and running a vegan activist retreat. Well, you can see that's a big part of what I do, vegan activism. That drives everything, really. The business, the money, the wealth building is accumulating resources as a tool to make the world a better place, to alleviate suffering for ultimately the animals. It's a big passion of mine. I've been vegan for almost 8 years now, and that inspired and set me on a journey to making the world a better place, seeing there's so much sad stuff, horrible things happening to animals out there. And many people are funding this kind of activity. And I realize it's such a simple change, such a highly leveraged action that we can take to drastically reduce the suffering on Earth is by just moving our hand from here to here in the supermarket, buying a different product instead of the meat or the dairy or the eggs or this animal product. Simple change, massive effect. And that's my message.
Absolutely amazing. So activism, vegan, passion, real estate, portfolio management, impact. How does it tie together? Like, are there many portfolio managers who are also vegan activists and have such burning passion as you?
To my knowledge, no. There are vegans in the property space who offer a management service, but I'm not sure how much they would like what they do for activism, for street level grassroots activism, getting out on the street. So I actually set up a vegan property professionals network. We've got almost 100 people in the UK. I used to think there were a handful of us, people who were vegan, who are active in the property space. And I brought us together, and we do meetups at the annual Vegan Camp Out Festival, and looking to do more meetups as well so we can collaborate and work together on projects that are going to help us build wealth and do it in an ethical way, make the world a better place.
Impressive. I can imagine the atmosphere is completely different among vegan property management than like regular, normal property managers, right?
For sure. I mean, there's some things we do differently that have attracted vegan clients. And also, I think it ties into the eco side as well, because it's a growing interest in the market. People want to live sustainably. And if they can book an Airbnb that's going to plant trees and use renewable energy where possible, use plant-based, non-toxic cleaning products that are cruelty-free, like all these little things, they all add up to, I guess, a different kind of environment like you were describing.
So activism and veganism and property management sounds quite distant for me without any prior knowledge, but as I can hear, you kind of try to bring these two together, and like one is fueling the other one and the other one's giving energy to the other one.
Mm.
And activism kind of builds the foundation of our community. And then obviously the property business, you're using it to kind of fund your initiatives. How did it all come together, and kind of what was the basis of this empire that you're building in the moment?
A lot of feeling lost and confusion. So for the bulk of my life, I mean, the early years, I didn't really have a clear direction or ambition. I had some vague notion of working in the tech industry. Didn't know what I wanted to do in the world, so I went into a business management course at university because I figured everything's business, right? So learn some business skills, and I can go into any industry once I figure out my path. But that first year at university, I learned some things that didn't sit right with me about how we use animals. I learned that in the dairy industry, they will forcibly inseminate a cow, and then when she's had her baby, they'll take the baby away, and then they'll take that baby's milk. And then if that baby is a boy, they're just going to kill that boy because they're not the right kind of breed of cow to raise for beef, and they're effectively a byproduct of milk production because they need pregnant cows to make the milk so they can sell it. And the girls are going to be raised in that same system of being impregnated and again until their body just can't stand it, and they keel over in exhaustion, and then they're taken to have their throat cut. It's horrible. So this,
It's just
I
treating them as
tried
objects,
to
basically.
justify it, right? When I heard about this kind of activity, because I knew I was funding it, I had to kind of find a way to prop up my own self-worth if I wasn't going to change. So I looked into this activist he was on Good Morning TV with Philip Schofield, as Philip Schofield's pointing at his canine, saying we have to eat animals because we've got these teeth.
Wow.
Yeah, so I looked into this activist on YouTube, Joey Carbstrong. He inspired me. I looked at his content and I wanted to disagree with him because I wasn't vegan, and agreeing with him would mean that I wasn't living in alignment with my values. But I couldn't. I just simply couldn't. And
You just didn't have the power or the leverage or the
I
tools.
didn't have an argument. Didn't have an
Oh.
argument in favor of using animals when I didn't need
Okay.
to, effectively.
Okay.
Because that's what veganism is about. It's abstaining from animal exploitation. And I couldn't see a reason after hearing these arguments and learning these things and practices that are happening
Mhm.
that would continue to justify me using animals. So then that set me on a path of outreach, grassroots street activism, to talk to people about it, people who would actually want to talk to me about it. Because funnily enough, my flatmates didn't want to hear about it. Me going off in the kitchen talking about animal rights while they're eating bacon sandwiches, it didn't go down well. So I needed to invite conversation consensually, openly, create demonstrations, spectacles in the street that would attract attention, and people have a conversation with me off their own volition. So then I really got into that. It felt rewarding, and I could see change happening. I'd have people message me on Facebook and approach me in the street saying I turned the whole family vegan just from doing
Wow.
a demonstration.
Wow.
And just factually saying practices that are happening in the animal agriculture industry that people are paying for. And not just agriculture, there's entertainment, circuses, zoos, SeaWorld, there's experimentation, animal testing, there's lots of different ways that humans are using animals. And learning that thing about dairy set me on a path of discovery to find out about all of this and realize that it was so brutal and so unnecessary and so easy to abstain from. So it felt like that was a high leverage point that I could make a positive change in the world by sharing this message. So then in street activism, I found my voice. I I felt like made a big difference, but the way I was doing it was not sustainable.
The question is, why is it so important to you? So what's the main argument behind your actions, and why did you choose to actually take some concrete action rather than just ignore it?
So the reason it matters to me is because I guess had a moral awakening. I realized that animals are sentient beings. They have their own unique experiences. They want to live and be free. They want to spend time with their families and do their own thing. They don't want to have their freedom taken away from them, especially for an unnecessary reason. Not that they could conceptualize the necessity of whatever reason someone is using to exploit them, but like I feel like we need to respect others, and I include animals in others because of their sentience. They may not have the moral agency that we have. They may not have the ability to determine right from wrong and to have insightful discussions like humans can. But we afford these privileges and these considerations to humans who are maybe less cognitively able, the elderly, the young, those who may be not fully mentally developed or have some kind of injury. Like just because someone isn't as intelligent as you doesn't give you the right to take away their rights and to use them. And so that's the crux of the argument, really, is that animals, they feel, they experience, and therefore they deserve to not be harmed when we don't need to harm them.
Honestly, I wouldn't be happy if on this planet there was another species, let's say, whose intelligence exceeds like 5,000 IQ points and using humanity as kind of for their own purposes, like meat and using us as objects, basically. So I think that argument can be translated to animals in the same way. So the differences between consciousness and intelligence, because basically intelligence is the ability to solve problems and consciousness is the ability to feel, kind of. And regardless of where we approach this problem, animals have the capacity to feel, and even they also have intelligence. But the main point is they also have the capacity to suffer. And if somebody has the capacity to suffer, then we should protect it and we should take it into consideration. That's my opinion. What was the earliest challenge that you faced when starting out on this journey? You also mentioned resistance.
I had to learn some techniques for effective communication with people who had not experienced this message before. So there were times when I was speaking on the street, doing a demonstration with some other vegans in my university town of Swansea, where people would come up to us with a box of chicken nuggets and start waving in our face. I've had nuggets thrown at me. I've had burgers waved in my face. I guess they're trying to rile up some kind of reaction, but I just see it as sad. Like, it's deeply sad to me that an animal has died and now they're just being used as a prop to try and rile someone up, and completely unnecessary. And I think that people do this kind of trolling as a self-defense mechanism to prop up their own self-image and reaffirm the validity of the identity they choose, which is meat eater.
And in those moments, have you always known that you are going to be an animal rights activist, or was it like a gradually evolving process?
No, I mean, for the first 20 years of my life, I guess I just had the standard British philosophy and diet. I say both because veganism is not a diet. It's
English breakfast.
Yeah. So I used to have
scrambled eggs,
sausages
bacon.
made of pigs, and I used to eat cows and turkeys and chickens, and I'd eat some animals but not others. I was grossed out by some, and I certainly would never eat a dog because dogs are different, right? I mean, no, morally, I think dogs are on the same playing field as a cow or a fish or a pig, and we should afford them the same rights. But then, to go back to your question, yeah, so for 20 years of my life, I was not vegan. And then at university, I discovered these things, made this decision, this commitment to a principled stance against the unnecessary exploitation of others. And pretty much straight away, I wanted to talk about it. So I guess I was an activist from day one of being vegan, where I wanted to talk with my flatmates about it, and then my family, and they thought I was mentally ill. I spoke to my best friend, and He thought I'd gone down a strange, dark rabbit
It
hole.
wasn't mainstream back then.
No, it's not. It's not mainstream
Was
now.
that- yeah.
But I
That's
think
a good point. That's a good point.
it's a lot more understood than it was. Although there's still a lot of misconceptions and limiting beliefs, I think. But yes, so it was a challenge, an uphill battle, because I didn't know any vegans at the time. When I went vegan, there was one vegan in my life I'd never even spoken to. Another student in my class named Pada. Hi, Pada. One of my best friends today. He was this big, strong guy with like powered by plants, strongest guy in the class. And maybe that was an inspiration for me.
Wow.
Because before I even saw that video about the cows, I'd seen him walk into lectures with the biggest muscles in the vegan shirt. So that kind of set the record straight. Like, no, you can be the strongest guy in the room as a vegan. Don't let this protein myth scare you.
So obviously that was a big risk for you, obviously, in terms of, even in terms of finances, but mostly in terms of like relationships and reputation and what will people say about you. How you go about risk and risky decisions? So are you kind of a risk taker personality? So even if something is very risky, but you kind of feel that it's worth it, you just jump straight in and take the risk, or
Yes.
are you on the cautious side?
taker.
Risk taker.
Yeah. So I invested my life savings after uni in education because I suppose
What did you study?
I studied business management.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, but I mean, after that, I invested in more education in property investing. So out on the streets one day doing activism, there was another vegan amongst our group who happened to be a lecturer at the same university that I attended. And he invited me to a seminar one evening about investing because he knew I was studying business and thought it might be interesting for me. So it turns out it was about property investing. Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki.
Oh yeah, I know that. Yeah, I read the
So
book.
his organization, they were running a property investing training seminar, and that showed me the potential of how much money people are making in property, and how you can solve people's problems and create value, and make a load of money off the back of it. So that made me think: why am I? Why would I get a job? Why would I get into the corporate world where my income is capped, where I don't have full freedom to do what I want to do, where I have to attend within set hours and make someone else money, when I could do my own thing, take a risk, and be better off in terms of finances and time freedom. So that set in motion me going into different training seminars and just soaking up as much as I could before I decided, look, I need to get proper training on this, because all these free seminars that they're trying to sell you to the next level.
Oh yeah.
And I wanted to get some hand holding, some coaching. So that's what I did. I invested my life savings. That was the risk. First big risk that I took was dumping all my cash in this training course, meaning that I wouldn't have any money to do any property deals, because they told me, it's okay. You can spend all your money on the training because we're going to teach you how to find deals and find money to do those deals. And I thought,
yeah, just
good.
go all in, and then we
worked.
can figure out the rest.
Yeah, for sure.
What was your riskiest decision in terms of business? And then obviously, if you're happy, you can also talk about personal life.
I say that was at the time that was the riskiest decision, because I gave all my money to this training company, and I needed a result because my ambition was to create time freedom and abundance and wealth for myself so that I could remove myself from the rat race and pursue my goals of activism and creating a mindset shift in society around our use of animals. And that requires resources, because someone's got to pay your rent when you're out there talking to people on the street. It's not making money. You can go down the influencer route and make money off merch and ad revenue, but there just aren't enough eyes watching and money circulating within the vegan movement for every vegan and budding activist to go out there being an influencer for veganism. So I didn't want to do that because it's not a fully replicable model. I wanted to do something that other activists could see and think, well, there's plenty of money out there to make a business, any kind of business, and run it in a vegan way. So most of the people who pay to stay at the properties I manage aren't vegan. So I'm taking money from the general economy and then using it for my own ventures and pursuits.
So you're talking about the upside and kind of scalability and how to make a bigger impact and then just spreading the message and kind of developing leaders. Is that correct? Is that what you mean?
Effectively, yeah. Yeah. So I like to think in terms of systems and high leverage points. And rather than just me being out there on the streets talking to people, making a linear change for every 1 hour, there might be one new person seriously considering veganism. Whereas if I'd spent that hour building something that helps others grow as activists and advocates for the animals, then the net positive effect down the road would be ideally more people going vegan, more animals saved from being used.
And your model seems to be working.
Yeah,
You
it's going all
achieved a
right,
lot.
for sure.
What was your biggest achievement?
Biggest achievement, I'd say, well, there are a few things that are notable. So I'm now managing a growing portfolio that exceeds the value of £7 million, soon to be 8 million after a couple more deals that I've got in the works.
Hmm.
Um, I discovered a knack for couple of knacks, a knack for networking and connecting people and creating and cultivating spaces where people can connect over shared interests and niches. And there is a real value in creating and holding a space and setting the tone, holding the boundaries, and ensuring that we're all moving forward together, helping each other. So connecting other Airbnb hosts in the other towns that I run properties in, because we're not just competition. We can pass booking referrals to each other. We can ask each other for recommendations for cleaning staff and maintenance people. And there is a way that even though we're technically competition, we can collaborate and help each other better than if we were just running it solo. So then there's also when Universal Studios was announced in Bedford, was given the green light in early this year in April. I created a Facebook group, and it's the Universal Studios Property Investors Facebook group. And naturally, that would attract lots of people who are interested in capitalizing on the real estate boom that's coming to Bedford.
Hmm.
So that's almost at 2,000 members now. And there's surely a lot of potential for growth in this space where we can have a real community of investors helping each other out, working together, collaborating on deals, and creating that real value that's needed for the local community and for the many tens of thousands of contractors that are coming to Bedford over the next 5 or so years, and then the tens of millions of tourists that are going to flood after that. So I did that. I mean, my interest in that is because I have a business stake in the Airbnb management business, and I'd benefit from securing more management deals from other investors and landlords.
You mentioned niches. Do you specialize in something?
Short-term rental management.
Uh-huh.
But then I'm pretty good with AI as well. So I'm into AI software development, vibe coding. Basically, you just describe what you want to the AI tool and it creates you websites and apps.
Especially for the property market or in
Yes,
general?
I've made a rental analyzer where you can put a postcode and some key property details, and it will tell you how much money that can make on Airbnb.
Wow.
Not just how much money it can make, but drawing from other market data points. So information from Google Maps and cross-referencing that with the key market types that one might expect from a property of that size. Basically, you can say, if I've got a 3-bedroom here, who's going to stay here? How much money is it going to make? And it's going to look at what are the key attraction points in this area, like hospitals? Is there a big development going on? Is there Legoland or something nearby? Or what are the key drivers of the market demand for this kind of property? So that's just by describing that I wanted it to do that, and then helping the AI to work through the information barriers that it needs. So various software credentials to access other tools, and it pulls it into one place in a user interface that I can then curate a proper dashboard. And yeah, that's one of the tools. But then I've used it to create a website to manage the local vegan community, whereby as the organizer of events in the area, I can create a listing for an event and then publish it instantly to Eventbrite for more exposure. People can subscribe to the calendar on their Google Calendar app or Outlook or Apple, whatever they use. So then they get automatic updates of events that are happening without having to go to the website. The idea is it's kind of reducing resistance and making it easier for people to get involved. But then the latest one is this website that I built for my new business, the Bali retreats for vegan activists. Really excited for this. So yeah,
Tell me more.
Sure. So a week ago, I decided that I was going to do it. 3 weeks ago, or just over, I went on my first holiday in 7 years. So
wow,
I'd been
You're busy.
Well, at first I was a broke student, and then I was a broke entrepreneur, and then I was a stuck entrepreneur. But I've got staff and systems now that take care of things.
And a scaling entrepreneur and then scaled.
Scaling, yeah. The time was right where I had some feeling of abundance that I can take some time out and go on holiday. And this opportunity came up to go to a vegan activist retreat in Malaga, Spain, on the south coast. And that was such an amazing holiday. It reminded me that I've got to take out some time for myself. And it got me thinking, how can I do this more? How can I go on more holidays without breaking the bank? Because I realized that my business, the Airbnb management business, I don't need to be in the UK to run it. It helped me, it just affirmed that, because I've got the staff and the systems that I can communicate from anywhere in the world and have my team do stuff to keep things running smoothly. So how do you go to Bali, for example, without spending £3,000 and still have a luxurious holiday?
Well, it's pretty difficult.
Well,
for most people,
for sure, yeah. Well, you run a retreat.
Yeah.
Like it's a business. There's a lot of work and effort involved in making this thing happen, making it come together. And there is a bulk discount you get. Like you can't just go and stay in a 5-bedroom or 10-bedroom villa with a large swimming pool and massage tables and a gym. Like you need a big group to make that economically viable.
How big?
Well, we're looking at about 15 people.
50 people.
Yeah.
From the UK specifically?
Anywhere.
Okay.
So we're going to market in our organically through the vegan networks.
They need to be vegan.
Oh yeah, it's got to be values aligned, got to be on that same mission, because the whole point is that we're going to collaborate, get together, make friends.
Do they need to be activists as well?
Not necessarily have lots of experience in activism, but wanting to make a better world for animals and open to getting outside of one's comfort zone to learn and do more.
Hopefully they're going to get inspired.
For sure. And I know that because I partnered with the founder, the head of one of the best grassroots animal rights organizations in the world, We the Free. So they have over 10,000 activists worldwide. The guy who I'm partnered with, his name's James, and he's been...
10,000 activists?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so over 200 different groups, I think, over about 45 different countries they're active in. And it's running events. So I've been running the We the Free events for a year now, every month in Bedford. We basically get out into the street with a table, some screens, and some food prizes. And then we hold a sign saying, hey, come watch a 3-minute film, and then you can win a free prize. It's ambiguous. People don't know what it's about. It's a challenge.
What the film's about?
Well, it's a 3-minute cut showing people the reality of how animals are used. So we have a graphic
from
warning.
Factory farms,
slaughterhouses, lots of things that people just aren't aware of. But I feel it's very important to know what.
Is it recent footage?
Yeah, so it's recent footage. It's compiled from these welfare-approved, organic, grass-fed.
Oh, okay.
You know, supposedly the creme de la creme. It's absolutely horrific what these animals.
So it's the same stuff you buy in a supermarket, basically.
Yeah, and restaurants. I don't know the exact percentage, but the vast majority, well over 90% of animals that people consume and exploit for dairy and eggs, etc., come from factory farms, and they all go to the same slaughterhouses.
And even grass-fed animals are coming from factory farms.
So with grass-fed animals, they spend some of the year in the shelter and some of the year in the pasture, but they all go to the same slaughterhouse. So these labels, they ultimately don't mean a thing for the animals when
so they undergo the very same suffering, basically. even
Yeah.
if it's grass-fed or not.
Yeah. So pigs, for example, they standard method of stunning them in the UK is to put them in gas chambers.
Gas chamber.
For real. Yeah. And they scream. It's not nice. Like people don't know about this
Sorry,
stuff.
I'm feeling so ignorant now. I just didn't know. I
Yeah.
just didn't know these things. Honestly.
It's a standard reaction. It's shocking. Like when you say that, what do people think of? I don't have to say the word, but
maybe I should need to do my own research, I guess, after this podcast.
you might like to. Yeah. Yeah. So that's just
Wow.
one of the many things about how animals are used that I didn't know about. And I wish someone had told me earlier so that I could make a more informed decision rather than being told lies about happy chickens and cows roaming freely and the laughing cow. You know, they use these marketing ploys to make us think that animals are living such happy lives. But ultimately, violence is inflicted on all of them, and it doesn't need to be.
Mm-hmm. Incredible. So what's your message?
My message?
What are you hoping the audience to do?
I would love for people to discover their inner power, to take control of the things that are within their sphere of influence and to use those tools, whatever it may be. If you've got any, I guess, to have this mindset that you can make a difference. And the only way that you will ever make a difference is to believe that you can. Because if you look for excuses, you're always going to find barriers. But if you look for opportunities, that's how opportunities come your way. And that's how you can create value, increase the joy in the world, decrease the suffering in the world. And, well, there's going to be a better world left after you're gone if you do that.
Absolutely. And take the risk, as you
Take
did
the risks for sure.
many times, and find those kind of leverage points.
Definitely lean into what you're good at, what you enjoy. Create a life on your terms and don't settle for anything less.
So if there's anyone who is listening to this podcast and probably who's 18, what's the one piece of advice you would absolutely give to them?
Don't feel like you have to go to university.
Okay.
Because that's around the age that people are getting into it and really thinking about signing up and getting in a lot of debt. And I mean, I'm not really using my degree. I got in tens of thousands of pounds for this piece of paper that, I mean, maybe it gives some small amount of credibility if someone sees on my website that I have a degree in business, but like you can build credibility in other ways, and you can start your own venture by getting experience in a small company and rising through the ranks there. And you can go out of university or college, not university, but college and school, and just get some experience, learn some skills, meet some people, have this can-do attitude and want to help and solve problems and just do things that create value. Trust that you will find your angle, your niche, something that makes you different, that you can excel in. And then, yeah, just take it easy on yourself. Be patient.
Don't be hard on yourself. And don't go to uni.
Well, unless you want to be a doctor or a solicitor, or you want to do something that requires a degree, which, of course, that's super commendable.
If you're going to be a neurosurgeon or a heart surgeon.
For sure. You can create a lot of value in that space, even by just making a YouTube channel about it or making content online, connecting with other people who are doing that, going to work in a museum and like getting some real world experience that doesn't tie you up for 4 years of potential growth and impact.
Potential impact. Yeah, I think that's the keyword of this conversation, potential impact. What's next for you? Do you have any events planned, any projects, anything that you're planning to do at the moment?
Yeah, so the big exciting project is organizing this retreat in Bali. Within a week of conceptualizing the idea, I've got the name of the company. It's called Philanamy. It's like philanthropy, but
so it's going to be a new company.
Yeah, new company with a business partner who's based in Bali. If it goes well, this retreat, we look to scale it, do more retreats all around the world, do package holidays for vegans. and that's the market we're looking for. So the kind of thing where you can just rock up in a new country with no plans, just your passport, luggage, and you know you're going to have a wild adventure and meet some cool people. So that's the angle of this business. But for this first retreat, we're leaning heavily into the animal rights advocacy with workshops, and so that's the main thing we're doing at the moment. So within a week of conceptualizing, I've got the name of the company, the whole website and sales funnel fully built. It's got the email marketing campaign set up, social media presence locked in, and just need to configure a couple of things like Zoom call integration and payment processing. And then we can have a proper business setup so that people can find our website, go through the application process, escalate to the next level of the Zoom call, and then the deposit, and then the payment. So just making this a proper business, getting it registered and insured, and start making some sales, getting some tickets locked in.
Brilliant.
As well as growing the Airbnb management portfolio, aiming to get to a value of 10 million in managed assets by the end of the year, which is a realistic goal. Yeah. Well, thanks for having me.
Thank you for coming. It was a pleasure.
Yeah.
Thanks.
That's all good.
All right. Clapping.